Good morning and welcome to the Autopsy of Her, Healing, Evolving Resiliency. I hope you all are having a wonderful morning. I am Iris Denise Owens, your host, and on the line with me, my co-host is my beautiful sister. Good morning, honey bunny.
Good morning, honey bunny. Stephanie Deani Green.
How are you
Good
today?
morning, everyone. I'm great. How are you, honey?
I am doing wonderful, wonderful. So just want to say that we are so happy and so excited today because we have an awesome guest in the house today. We want to introduce to some, and for some of you, you already know him, and for some you don't, but we are going to introduce and give him the floor to talk today. So we are so happy to welcome Mr. Omar Tyree, author, journalist, just extraordinaire, and he is doing some amazing things right now. And we're going to give him the opportunity to share that with you. We're not going to sit here and do this long bio because this is not what we're doing, right? So, but we are so excited to have you, Omar. How are you this morning?
Great, man. I'm back home in Philadelphia. I'm actually in the neighborhood where I was born and raised in the bottom of West Philly. Yeah, West Philly thing. West Philadelphia, born and raised. So
All right.
I'm back out here.
I love it.
I'm back out here on 35th Street, and I was on 38th Street. So I got a meeting on 34th Street right after our Zoom call. And
Okay.
it's cold up here, man. It's cold. It's only like 44 degrees, but this is the first 44 degrees of the winter for me, man. I'm like, whoa, dude. So you gotta get used to it again. But
Yes.
Yeah, for people who don't know, I'm a West Philadelphia book writer that came out with a book called Fly Girl in the 1990s that took off and started this whole contemporary urban street lit craze that
Absolutely.
a whole lot of people started writing books all over the place. And at the time, I was in my early 20s, and all the other authors were late 30s, 40s, so they're like, what's this little baby know about writing books? What is this little baby?
Right.
And so I was the baby in the industry back in the 90s. Now I'm an old grown man, call myself the old head now because I didn't grew up through the ranks and whatnot. And now I'm the old dude with gray hairs and all that. So, now I'm working with young people, man. The book business, we don't get as much attention as we used to get in the 90s because reality show people and social media has taken over. And it's hard to compete with that because all the young people follow each other. They like what they're doing. They do jokes and skits and all that. So it's hard for us old heads to keep up with that, So now I'm getting involved with the young people with the other entities of music and film. And I've always said that music is the number one art form for Black people. And then film, for me being a storyteller, you got to know that that's my final frontier. I actually didn't start off being a storyteller through reading books. I became a storyteller through watching movies. And my family is a movie addicted family, man. And, in the West Philadelphia, we had this theater called the Capitol Center on 52nd Street. Okay. And we would walk up Lancaster Avenue, like 20 blocks, walk to the movies in the 70s and go in there. And I was the youngest. My mother was the oldest of 8. My father was the oldest of 4. So I had a whole lot of uncles and aunts that were older than me, but not that much older. And I had cousins. And so I was always around older people, and I would memorize everything they did and everything I heard. So I'm a mimic. And so that's how I got a lot of the stories, just copying what I saw, copying. And I said, so-and-so did this, so-and-so said that. And then I do all the voices and stuff. And then the uncles and aunts like, hey, do that voice you just did. Do so-and-so. And so I started doing characters and all that. And so when it got time for me to write my own stories, I knew all the details and the elements that goes into great storytelling. So now with me getting back into film, when I raise this capital, I'm going to do the Tyler Perry thing, not so much from the church in the South, but from the North and the rec center, the community. You know what I mean? That's what I grew up in Philly. So that's what I'm working on now up here in Philly, politicking with a whole lot of people I know to get this music and film thing popping and moving forward.
So Omar, I want to say that, as you said, you wrote the book Fly Girl, right? And as you said, you were a young writer, but your inspiration created a whole new generation of people who read, right? African Americans who read, young people who were reading, because I don't know how old you are, but I know when I was growing up, do you all remember RIF, reading is fundamental?
Absolutely.
Right? And that was a marketing, and that was a whole program to get us to read, and yet it still didn't do it. But when you started writing, man, it was such an evolving for literature for all of us, right? It opened up our minds and our hearts and our spirits to something that we had not done before. And so focusing now on what you're doing, as we were talking before, we did this, is talking about evolving, and that evolving involves, or evolving requires involvement. And so this is what we really want to hear from you about. You just told us what you're doing, but just kind of give us that whole thing of, you've gone from this one, right? What you were doing before, you were an author, you wrote 28 books, right?
Exactly.
And now you're moving to it. You're on a totally different platform, which is what is needed in life to be able to evolve and change. And I don't like the word pivot. I like evolving, because you do one thing, and that doesn't mean that's the only thing you can do. So
you don't put yourself into a box. People like to put you in a box.
So moving now into film and being able to put your work in front of so many more people. And like you said, books are not something, it's very competitive. I mean, there's still a lot of people who love to read, but it's really hard to publish or get books out nowadays, I'm sure. So tell me why you decided to go that way, just a little more in depth.
Well, you can still put books out all you want right now. It's just about how many readers you're going to get. Who's going to know about it? You can still put them out. That's your prerogative. This is my prerogative. Put it out. Put it out.
Definitely.
At the end of the day, it's about the readership now. Can you get the readership? And so for me, I put together a proposal for investors that I got on the table right now. And I told them that I was always going to be a filmmaker. It just took me longer than I expected. But when I first started writing books are easier because it's just you on a typewriter. It's just you on a computer. When you start talking about doing films, now you got cameramen, and you got lighting, and you got locations, you got actors. Now they got their own sentiments. Oh, I had to go to this day. I got to do it. Oh, I didn't know my lines. You got all this extra stuff that you got to deal with that you don't have to deal with writing books. Absolutely. And so I wrote books because I understood that, like, man, all I got to do is sit down on the computer, I write my book. And so I wrote the books and started rolling with that. And then I kind of, didn't think about the film thing. It's on my mind, but I didn't go into it until the film audience kind of started dying down. Then I was like, okay, I got to make that transition now. And you find out that Hollywood just ain't pro-Black friendly, man. They don't know our books. They don't read our books. And then a lot of Black people, they don't put their own money up. You hear it all the time, use somebody else's money. Well, here's what happened when you use somebody else's money. If they don't love what you love and they don't know what you know, it's now harder to get them to use their money for something that you know and like, and they don't know and don't like. And so it's hard for Black people to ask white people to finance our stuff if they don't understand what the book's about, what it's going, why people respond to it, and they still don't understand it. I was out with Fly Girl good 7 to 10 years in Hollywood, and they couldn't understand the story. Why do they like this story? I'm like, look, don't worry about that. Let me handle that. But it's hard to get somebody else to put their money up if they don't understand what you're doing. And so this has always been a long time coming for me. It was going to happen sooner or later, and now it's later. It happened later than sooner. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? So now I get to control the whole thing because nobody else wanted to do it. They would lip service about it, but when it came time to put up or shut up, they shut up. They didn't do it, so I have to do it now. But I found out that, again, with music, if you can find young people who are hot and keep putting records out, they got all the money in the world. They just screw it up all the time. with all the jewelry and gold teeth and cars and, you know, baby mamas and houses and all that shit. Silly stuff, jets and trips with it, just showing off all the time with money because they're young and never had money before. So when I get involved with this, you know, music thing, I'm going to utilize all that capital to do film and community programs and more projects that I want to do now. You know, so that's what I'm looking at. It's just a matter of time. And all I got to do is stay alive now. Knock on wood, let me stay alive. And I got a whole lot of stuff that I plan to do with young people. Yeah, so I'm ready to rock and roll with it.
Okay. So you touched on something that's really important, as you were saying about the old antic about, you know, use someone else's money. But when you use someone else's money, many times, like you just said, they don't understand, right? But also, if you're using someone else's money, then it becomes where they want to control, which you lose the ability of your creativity.
Could you do this? Could you put my cousin in? Could you put my mom in there?
Yeah.
I got a little nephew.
Could you change that storyline? You know, and so I love what you're saying. So are you also planning, when you're talking about these young folks in music, is to really teach them the business and teach them how to handle, because it's a different lifestyle. It's like when someone wins the lottery, right? You go from being not even being poor. You just go from, you didn't have this kind of money at your disposal, and now you have these millions, thousands of dollars, millions of dollars at your fingertip, and there's no one there to guide you through that. Is that going to be a part of what you're doing with young people as well?
I got this formula. Yeah, I got this formula for money I call 4 quarters. And you basically, if you get $100, you want to split it into 4 quarters rather. So you do $25, $25, $25, $25. Taxes is coming after you. So you might as well go ahead. I figure taxes about 27% of your money. So you might as well go ahead, 25 to 27. You can throw in the extra 2%. So that's number one. Pull aside the money for taxes because they coming to get you. They definitely coming to
absolutely.
Hello.
And then then you put aside 25% for your family. Always want to square your family away, have a family thing. And then you want to have 25% for investment, which really is real estate. You know, real estate is the most stable investment. People always got to live in housing. And then the last 25%, that's your play and hustle money. You can go buy whatever you want with the last 25%. But of course, with us, we spending money all kind of ways. We ain't doing the 25%, the 4 quarters. We don't pay for taxes. You don't take care of family. Everything you're doing is the pleasure principle. So you spending 80% on stuff you like, earrings, hair manicures, new hair, it's crazy stuff, a dress, new shoes, whole closet full of shoes. And then the tax people come and they're like, hey, man, you should have been thinking about us. And then your family like, well, what about us? You can't help us out. Now you ain't got no money left to do the things that you could have been doing when you had the $100 in the first place. So I'm going to teach all of them. If y'all hear it right now, you heard it first, Momar, the 4 quarters. If you get $100,000, 25,000, right, is going to taxes, 25,000 to your family, 25,000 to real estate, and the other 25, that's your play money, your hustle money, whatever you want to do with it money. Not the 75%, just 25%. So yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
Oh my, that's amazing. Because you know it's so funny.
On that.
So both of us, so I believe all 3 of us are entrepreneurs, right? And on yesterday, so both Steph and I are both realtors. And so yesterday I was sitting in a business planning meeting talking about 2022, right? And that was one of the things that, of course, there's always that money. So they were like, 25 to 35% for taxes, right? And then splitting your money out. And so I love that you talked about that, because that is the one thing we don't learn about, right? And there was an economist who said, as Black people, and as I tell people all the time on this show, you know, if you're sensitive, you know, if you're a pearl clutcher, you might want to close your ears. But as Black people, we tend to wear our assets on our ass, right? We don't invest our money. We don't, and real estate is something you could never go wrong. I don't care if you buy the worst property and you put money into it and build it up, it is forever going to make money for you as long as you do your part. you know?
Yeah.
So it's really important that we understand buying cars are nice. Buying clothes are nice. I'm a shoe hog, I'm a clothes hog, but you also realize at the end of the day, you're never going to get back out of a pair of shoes or a dress what you put into it, right? And even a car. So yes.
They feel that way.
But the thing is though,
Girl, when I wear these brand new shoes, girl, I feel like I'm 20 feet tall, girl. I feel like I can take over the world. I gotta have these diamond studded, silver lace, platinum shoes. I gotta have them, girl. And this dress, when I put this dress on, girl, I feel like I'm from a new planet. I gotta have a dress on. That's how they feeling.
You driving down our street. I'm gonna need you to back up out of my garage. That's what, just back up out of my garage.
but we as Black people, we need to learn. It's so many types of investment, and we need to learn the whole gamut. You know, like I'm big into stocks. I'm getting big into crypto. And also, I mean, if you're spending that money on some of those things, you have to invest in investment pieces. Because if you're buying shoes and bags that are investment pieces, if you need that money, you can always sell that bag because they go up in price. But you got to know what to buy, and you got to know where to put your money. Even art is a big thing right now. Art has always been a big thing. You know, people never understand. Oh, why did he spend $1 million for that painting? That is such a big investment, and it's a great investment. It only goes up in value, and we need to learn about all investments. And there's a lot of them out there that we know nothing about. Because the wealthy built in this country, you know, that they built their money in stocks. That's how they built their money. Not something that went up 100% in one day. You're talking about steady growing, you know, that's always going to grow. It's things in this world that we're always going to need no matter what. So we need a big education and finance for sure.
Absolutely. You know? Absolutely. So Omar, back in Philly.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're on the Philly. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I'm just waiting on you. Go ahead, you got it.
Oh no, you don't have to wait on me. You can jump. I told you, anytime. We are here to hear from you, not to hear from me. So you can jump in anytime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you was about to ask another question though.
No, I was just gonna say. So back in your hometown, back on your stomping grounds where you grew up.
Yeah.
What does that feel like when you come back to your roots, right?
I feel like I'm home, man. You know what I mean? I moved to an area called Mount Airy in Philadelphia, and I'm 52 now. You was talking about, your age. I'm 52 now, so I'm up there now. But it's crazy. When I'm in West Philly like I am now, I'm home. I'm home. I'm comfortable. When I drive back up to Mount Airy where I moved, I always think about the ways in which my mom drove up. That she used this highway, she's 76, she's Lincoln Tunnel. So every time I go up there, I become 9 years old again, 10 years old again in the car. So I know that I didn't grow up there. I grew up in the West Philly. And so I get people on Mount Airy like, man, you was up here with us with teenagers, because I was teenagers with them. That's where the Fly Girl story came from. We would fly in Mount Airy, West Oak Lane, Germantown, and Philadelphia. When we got a little bit of money, that was the move up. Well, we're moving on up, and we all moved up. Black people start, it happens in every city. Black people invaded the nice neighborhoods in every city. So Mount Airy, Germantown, and West Oak Lane was the Jewish areas in Philadelphia. And they all moved out when these Black people came. And I moved up there, and now I got the private green lawn, and I got a daggone driveway, and I got my own room, and we got trees with leaves on them and bark. And I'm like, yo, look at this, boy. Look at this.
I love it.
Like,
I
love it. Brick City, man. Philadelphia, that row house thing is brick city, man. Bricks everywhere. So when you get a lawn and a driveway and some trees, you're like, ah!
You be so happy.
Yes.
And then you gotta understand that neighborhood. When we became teenagers in Mount Airy, the girls up there, they had money to get, their teeth fixed and their hair done and a little panicure. They had a little extra. We ain't have money, big money now, but we had enough money to get fancy. Oh, you fancy, huh? You fancy. Yeah. So we was fancy to the mug. And that's where that whole Fly Girl came from, man. We was fancy as crazy in Philadelphia. We were fancy. More fancy than New York, you know what I mean?
So you were more fancy than New York? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
We were more fancy than New York.
I don't know. I spent a lot of time in Philly. My mother's one of 12, and two of her sisters live in Philadelphia. So I had some summers there, but we originally from the Bronx. Then we moved to Bergen County. But Iris we both from the Bronx originally.
Yes.
So I don't know, New York City is, it's no comparison. There's no place like it.
Well,
but I hear you though.
I think it's interesting, Omar, that when you're talking about, that moving, like when your family moves and shifts, right? From where you grew up, right? And it's interesting to me because for me, where I grew up on 169 in Webster in the Bronx, is I had a friend who posted something, someone who grew up there with me, posted on Facebook and said, growing up in the ghetto. And Steph knows we've had this conversation before, right? We have had this conversation. And then when he wrote growing up in the ghetto, I'm like, look, you grew up in the same neighborhood I grew up in. I didn't grow up in the ghetto. What are you talking about? And and I was like, I'm insulted that you wrote that, right? I'm like, all of our parents worked. Most of us grew up with, two-parent household. And if it wasn't a two-parent household, it was more that one of those parents had passed away, not necessarily that she was just a single mom, not that there's anything wrong with single moms. I'm just saying that was not a stigma for our neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
And then it was, then he was like growing up in the ghetto. And I'm like, what are you talking about growing up in the ghetto? And so my friends laugh at me and they go, you were so pampered in life, right? You obviously did not realize that you grew up in the ghetto.
Well, what we try to do in the Black community, man, is make the story of everything being harder. We try to turn it into good times. And so everybody,
come on.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they try to turn it. Because when I grew up in West Philly, the bottom, we had some rough stuff. But we all worked. We all had family. These was my uncles and aunts and cousins. Yes. So I'm like, they ain't no ruthless, crazy people. They my uncles, aunts. People make mistakes. They get in trouble. But they regular humans. I'm around them every day. So a lot of time when people talk about the hood and the ghetto, I'm like, stop it, man. They regular humans. Cut it out. And I can say that because I grew up in that situation. So every time when people go overboard, I'm like, yo, calm that down, man. It wasn't that. But we try to paint this extra picture that it was all crazy and vicious. And I'm like, yo, most of the time, I walked outside, I'm watching girls playing double dutch. I'm watching people eating pie and steaks. I'm not watching ghetto hood Christmas. We doing regular stuff that regular kids do. And I didn't even think about being poor because we were there every day. It didn't matter. Like we here every day. So you didn't think about that stuff. We're poor and they're rich. We didn't care about that. We're going to do what we're going to do. It only mattered when you had to do something that it had a value. Like we played football and we played some guys that had new equipment and knew everything. And now we like, damn, they got the new, you know what I mean? That's the only time we really thought about it. Other than that, we all around each other every day. So we had the same thing. So but that's what Black people do. We try to over dramatize the hood and the ghetto and all that kind of stuff. So I had friends in Mount Airy talking that stuff. Man, it was hard. This Philly. I'm like, yo, dude, I grew up in the bottom. I know the real hard stuff. What you talking about? And so they always trying to make it more dramatic, hood, gangster, Black. And I'm like, yo, calm down. All these young hip hop dudes, most of them are artists. Now I'm a football player. I grew up playing football. So I'm physical for real. Now I'm a book writer, so I'm an intellect, but I'm a physical dude. If you think about most artists, go back to high school, people that sing and dance and perform, they weren't no hard people.
No, like, they were not.
The softest people in the school.
No, they were not.
Now they get to be rappers. Now they hard. I'm like, come on, man. Y'all didn't play football. Y'all didn't go to the No, y'all was in there listening to music, doing art stuff.
Trying to write your rhymes, trying to get that deal.
And for me, I always said, and even if you did grow up in the ghetto, that is what made you. That's what gives you your grit. That is what gives you survival skills. And for me, I don't see that we grew up in the ghetto. I'm like you, Omar. People want to dramatize this thing about being poor.
They do.
None of us, I know that I didn't lack anything in life. I didn't lack anything in life. And the things that we really needed, which was security, love, shelter, family, you know, people who cared about us, people who gave us a sense of purpose in our lives.
Yeah.
That's what mattered.
And then we had a village too.
And you had a village.
We had a village at that point.
We had accountability to other people. And so that's why I said evolving requires involvement. It's important. Exactly. You cannot evolve if you are always sitting on the sideline going, well, those people over there, including when we separate ourselves from our own.
We're all in this together.
Right. Okay, right. We're all in this together because unfortunately, when something happens to one group of us, we're all put in it anyway. It really doesn't matter.
It's a domino effect.
There is no separation when it comes to us, right? There's separation when it comes to every other culture, but not when it comes to African Americans or to Black people. And so I think that's really important. So I just love what you're doing. I'm just loving what you're doing and looking forward to seeing your products come out. And
I just I put together a show called True Soul and Hip Hop at Bus Boys and Poets. They have these stores in DC and Maryland where they have performance venues. And so we put together 3 shows in a row for December, January, and February. Because now I'm going to start touring with young people and putting shows on. I call it True Soul and Hip Hop to get away from so much sex, drugs, and violence in the music. And the reason why you have that now, same deal, like they over-dramatize the hood. Now they're trying to over-dramatize the music and the words, as I call shock therapy, to get people to listen. Because now we are so numbers crazy. We are so analytics driven. Kids understand that too. So they like, what do I got to get these people to listen to me? What do I got to get people attention? And so Cardi B said it the best when she said, when I don't sing about my coochie, nobody pay attention. So I'm going back and sing about my coochie. And so that's what we got now. They trying to get numbers. And so in getting numbers, they going to talk about whatever they need to talk about to get numbers, even if it ain't really them. And then they'll say, I'm keeping it real. No, you trying to keep it real to get money. You ain't, that ain't real what you doing. And so that's what and so I want to go against that. The last 2 years, people have not made money in the venues, concerts, and all that because of COVID. So I'm giving corporate America a new opportunity to support true soul and hip hop. If you want to be involved in Black culture and Black dollars, then let's get us back on the right track and get these kids thinking about their real stories instead of over-dramatizing the sex, the drugs, and the violence. And so I'm putting together this new venue where we start locally and we're going to go nationally. And I'm branding that whole thing True Hip Hop or True Soul and Hip Hop, so I can get the right people back in the Tribe Called Quest and the Far Side and Outkast and Jill Scott and Erykah Badu and Zane and Jade and all that stuff. SWV. I want to get all that stuff.
Man, you talking so
with new young people. You do it with new. And I'm from Philadelphia, so people always ask that question. Well, what do you know about music? And the first thing I ask them is that, have you ever known a Black person that didn't listen to music?
Damn.
What Black person do you? Because I don't know any.
Damn.
I don't know any. Because, we walk outside back in the 70s and we had these big boom boxes, right?
Yes.
And people put them on. And then we had these big rock concert speakers. I still remember the guys coming to the playground with the U-Haul trucks and pulling these giant speakers out there.
Yes.
And you at the playground. So you gonna be listening and they playing that music. Go on and do it. Go on and do it. Everybody get on up and dance. And you out there, man, and they playing the music. So it's out there for everybody. Absolutely. So I'm like, man, how can you tell me or ask me? In Philadelphia in the 70s, we were some of the strongest soul music people on the planet. Because
that's true. Yes.
That's the truth.
Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff had music, man. I'm talking about all kind of, I always love my mama. She's my Philadelphia song.
That Philly sound was hot.
Any kind of music. I love you. Philadelphia. Ain't no stopping us now.
That's the song.
Back to Whitehead.
Oh my God. Backstabbers, get back money. It's all about all that stuff came out of my city in the we had people traveling from all over the country to record in Philadelphia to get that soul feeling, that community feeling, that content about the people. And that's how Philadelphia is. You got so many people right on top of you, all the time that there's no lying in this city. We tell the
Yes.
truth because you can't lie. I saw you out my window. You threw it in the trash. I saw you. Don't try to lie to me. I look right out my window. So you can't get away with lying.
I love that.
So I want to bring that soul back. If you remember Jill Scott's first lines, you getting in the way of what I'm feeling.
Absolutely.
That's straight North Philly, boy. You gonna fight, bro.
I saw her in concert several times. Love me some Jill Scott.
Omar, can I tell you that I am so serious right now that I feel every bit of your passion about what you're doing coming right here. I'm telling you, I'm like, and that's what I'm talking about. Realness, real intent, but being deliberate about what you're doing and about changing the landscape. I love that. I'm telling you. That's what it is. I
well,
feel
man, you know,
you're talking about
always
music.
Listen to music.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. You get ready to say something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I got out of Howard, Tuesdays, these kids don't know what Tuesdays even mean. Tuesdays was a drop date for all the music, right? Come out Tuesday the 11th, Tuesday the 24th. And so every Tuesday we had this store in DC called The Wiz, like the Wizard of Oz, right?
Yes.
And I go down there and I buy like 5 albums. And at that time, I started distributing my books. I had a rental car or, you know, regular rinky-dink car. And I'm driving up and down the East Coast from DC, Virginia to Baltimore to Philly, New Jersey, and New York. And I'm listening to these tapes, and I would always pick out the hottest songs. I'm listening to the hottest songs. So I have a very distinctive ear on the hot music. I'm always picking the singles. And so now that I'm doing it, I listen to instrumentals all the time, and I listen to the mood first. You know, the mood is a strong song? Is it a soft song? Is it a fast tempo? Is it a violent song? And then you place the subject on that. It's a love song. Make it a love song. Okay, this is an instrumental song. Let's make it instrumental. Whatever it is, this is a revolutionary, radical. Make it radical. So I listen to the mood of it, and then I'm a hook writer. I can write hooks till the cows come home. A lot of these kids can't write hooks. And so I write the hooks and they jump on the beat, and then I got the mood. And a lot of them don't know how to adapt to the beat. I say allow the beat to determine a song. A lot of them try to force that same lyrics on every beat, and they sound the same. And I'm like, I can't buy an album where you sound the same on 20 songs. What's the use of that? You have to be able to adjust and adapt to what the music is doing. And so I'm teaching these kids a lot. Then you got some that already know how to do that. And that's great when you got that, because now your stuff matches with that stuff. So it's going to be great, man. I'm putting together this Philadelphians album right now, all Philadelphia talent. But then after that, I'm going to start working with everybody. In fact, I'm coming up to Brooklyn tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to their, you know, Brooklyn event people to start doing the one in Brooklyn, you know, the true soul and hip hop in Brooklyn. And then the Harlem, I got to have Harlem. You know, then the Bronx up there, the boogie down. And so, you want to start spreading this thing around. And what I'm doing, I'm trying to coin it like Russell Simmons, Def Jam, poetry and comedy. He had comedy. And all he would do is come out and say, thanks for coming out. God bless.
Bless you. Get
I'm
home
going to say more than that. But he had that brand for a long time that put a lot of Black comedians on. And in the poetry thing, he didn't have that as long, because I know he wanted to make more money. But that poetry thing he had for like 2 years was explosive, man. It was like everybody was in. So I want to bring that back with the true soul and hip hop, you know what I mean? The whole national tour and movement to get us back away to real content and stuff, man. So I'm excited for it.
My son's a poet, Omar, and he's involved in this poet that this is called Soul Food Cypher. They do it every Sunday. And you might want to talk with them. Maybe
do they do it in the Bronx? Where they do it at?
They do in Atlanta. This is
Atlanta.
But it's Soul Food Cypher, and they call it their church, their Sunday church. And he's been doing it for several years. Several of these people have been Grand Slam poet winners and awardees and stuff. So maybe something you want to talk with about, you know, with some younger folks. I have some young folks that are up
all the young
in
folks
Brooklyn.
I'm working with.
I have some young.
My son is on one of the albums.
Yeah,
my son is 22 and he's on the album, so he's getting into music. But Atlanta, you bring up Atlanta, I was just talking about that yesterday. That place can't be more starved, hungry. That whole star syndrome now for Atlanta. So I don't know if anybody come. So first thing I'm thinking like, okay, they got the Sunday church. How many people in there? Because I'm thinking now like, does he have his own audience? Because when you come to Atlanta, they like, who gonna be there? Who gonna be there? You know, so I'm like, man, Atlanta's no cities like that. Like Atlanta has really gotten into that Hollywood thing now. So as soon as you said Atlanta,
it's always been
I'm like,
cliquish. Always been cliquish. It's a cliquish. Atlanta is more cliquish than New York ever has been.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because New York has enough people where it's like, if you got money, come on in. You know what I mean?
Exactly. They welcome everybody. Now they want to see everything in Atlanta. They got to see everything about you.
Yeah,
you know?
In Atlanta, they don't care.
Who that coming
really
in?
Care
who you
about
know?
What
well, who let you in here? Yeah, it's rough. So Atlanta, that was the one city. So I tell your son, hey, do something in New York. Get out of there. Because I'm scared of Atlanta.
My son is in film school.
Yeah.
My son is in film school. He's in film school. So he does music videos. He's 19. So he goes to Loyola Marymount University. He's done quite a few things. I know ABC wanted to hire him. And but, he's like, I'm staying in school, and I said that's a good place to be.
So you got
he's very good,
and you got a film school to do. I said you got a poet. Exactly. That's all. So y'all got to stay in touch with me. This kid developed because I'm doing music videos now and need better lighting and better camera work and stuff like that. So and then I'm gonna get into movies.
Well,
so
I have
need
a
cameraman and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's right up my alley. Yeah,
because he has his best friend. He's at NYU.
Now that we locked on to you, Omar, we're not gonna let you go now. So if you go try to run from us, we gonna find you.
Yeah, absolutely. We're so happy that this all like finally worked out, that we're able to have you on the show. Yes, for sure.
Amazing.
It really has
so
been
now
amazing.
I gotta go after them sponsors now, so now I gotta go after the people who we know have followed hip hop, with the Coca-Cola and the Sprite and the Adidas, you know what I mean? See if I can. Nike's always been more as a sport money. Maybe I can get Reebok back involved or something. We used to have British Knights, so you're gonna get these sponsors that
the British Knights.
Yes, my God. See, you going, listen,
I know
you really are the old head. I'm gonna stay right at Adidas. That's always been my favorite.
Yeah.
So
I got a video.
I like heads, but I wear Nikes.
I got a video. Yeah, we got a kid in Philly called The Tag, and we got a song coming out called What They Gonna Say. And he's like, what they gonna say to me when I come out with my hot stuff? Because people always got something to say. But He's not really into fashion. He's not really, he's a rhymer, but he ain't. So we gonna style him in the next video. And then in styling him, we gonna put him in all the clothes that we think we can get sponsorship money. And then we tell him, hey man, you see that? Yeah, so we put him in a hot Adidas sweatsuit and say, hey man, he can wear these all the time.
That's right. Because
you got to figure out how to get the backing behind positivity. Because it's like the negative people, they get all the money. So we trying to create the positive and say, look, man, this kid can wear your hottest new gear when it come out, when he's doing his hottest new videos. You know what I mean? And then it be him not covering it up with the camera blurs, but he can push it out there like, yeah, look at him wearing, So we want to do a whole lot of that stuff and get corporate America behind, what we putting together, man. And then the films come right behind it, where we can put all the plugins in the film. We can Sprite, the Adidas, and the car companies, the Fords, and Chevrolet. Everybody that backs us is going to benefit from it, because movies, videos, film, music, and all that stuff creates the numbers and the attention. And I'm always going to come out and say, hey man, Ford gave us so-and-so, Adidas gave, because I want other people to do that. And you want to celebrate the people who supported you in that way. Very important. I'm reading up on Leon Sullivan right now, who was a big time Philadelphia pastor, and all the programs that he set up in the community that spread to the whole nation and Africa. And so I'm on it, man. Like, yo, dude, we got to ask for this money and get it for the good things, because they surely push it for the bad things all the time.
All the time.
Can did you ever look into getting grants or anything of that nature?
Dreads like on my head?
No, grants.
Oh, grants. I thought you said grants. I do. I hope I can find me some grant writers, but typically they're very specific about what they're giving money for. You know, we're gonna need money for this, and you have to be this, 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 and this. And so then they got a list of 5 things, and you always make about 2 or 3 of them. And I don't have it to 4 or 5. So then you're trying to create your I guess a shift toward getting all the check 5, but it may not fit what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
And then the grant money, a lot of times it's not enough money. So you're doing all this stuff for $10,000 and you writing all that.
Well, I mean, you have to add that to your other. You have to add that to the other money. It's not going to just be enough. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
You do a lot of work. Yeah, you get a lot of work for a little money. And so, I started trying to get grants when I was in my early 20s. And it was like, man, this is way too hard. So when you get grant writers that know what they're doing, they already got templates. And they go right in, and they send a template in. I didn't have no template. I'm really reading every line to figure out what I need to do.
That's the key. That's the key.
Oh man!
But actually, that doesn't work. You have to know the grant writer knows the loopholes and what to say and what to do. And so you're right about the grants. You need it. That's a full-time job. That is a
I think I found one too. Yeah. Well, if I know more, I know about. I was telling you about it. I think I found one actually.
Well, if you guys found some grant money, let me send y'all my proposals for what I'm putting together. That grant money thing.
Listen.
But I tried it. I started writing grants at 22 years old. I was looking up grants and and I end up doing the old school way, just asking associates and family members for $100 each. And that's how I started my business. They give me $100 each, $100. Somebody gave me $50, so you can try grants. I'm all for it. But it's like hitting the lottery. Oh, I got a grant. Oh my God. And it's not going to be things that everybody gets. So if like 100 people pull out a grant, maybe one of them, you know what I mean? So and it's a lot of time involved in it, So I would love to have
find somebody that knows what they're doing. So it's it's a relative of mine, but she gets a lot of grants for people. So we'll see. All
right. Well, she gets her percentage. So that I ain't greedy. She gets her percentage.
She gets her percentage.
But right now we need to have comfortable, mature, and safe content in our theater and restaurant and arenas. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I can restart that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can restart that because a lot of people lost money. So right now, a lot of them want their doors back open and want those crowds back in their doors, and we can do that without cursing people out, without shocking people, without people looking at each other funny because you said something ridiculous on stage. So I'm trying to put that together and training these kids that cuss words do not make a hot record. Sex stuff does not make a hot record. We got hot beats, hot flows, hot ideas, execution, a hot mix that makes a hot record, not cussing everybody out. So I'm going to keep teaching these kids that. And I'm trying to go after that type of sponsorship money and then have new kids every year that are hot. Imagine me introducing the new hot kids every year. I come out there, like Soul Train, right? Today we got a brand new rapper out of Bronx, New York. He's the next hot coming thing, man. If you remember the whole, South Bronx KRS-One thing and Scott LaRock, he's bringing it back, baby. Give it up for the Bronx Monster.
I love it. Come on, Omar.
And they jump up there and do that thing, and it's all clean and cool with monster beats, and we all rocking, and we like, who you bringing next month? Who you bringing next month? That's what I want to do.
Yes.
The
and
then we put them in the movies.
Homegrown.
Yeah, because I can write the movies too. So I can write all the movies, put them in it, and they ain't over dramatized and over ghetto-tized and over, gun-tized and all that.
Sexualized.
Right.
Yeah, we got the Slav scenes, we got the conversation scenes, we got the real black people scenes, we got the thinking scenes. All that stuff's in there because that's the balance of great storytelling and maturity that we're not getting with this sensationalism. It's immature because you're trying to get your money. It's immature.
And it's irresponsible. And it's irresponsible.
It really is irresponsible. It's a bit too much. So I can't even listen to it's like really.
Yeah, that's what y'all say, right? You're doing too much. Do y'all say that in New York? You're doing too much.
Yes, they say it.
Too much.
We say it all. We say it everywhere. Because really, it comes to a point where you're like, this is what you're trying to make the world believe is that this is all the substance we have. And it's not,
Exactly.
you know,
No.
it is definitely not. And, you know,
they got a song out from, they got a song out from one of the Migos in Atlanta. It's called Scrub the Ground. And I'm talking about, I just happened to pop across and they got this video where girls are scrubbing everything with their booties. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And they on one block, you can tell they on one block, and they got like 50 girls with them daggone, you know, tight shorts. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. We in year 2021, about to go on 2022. And I'm like, really? Really? Like, come on, man. And then you got friends like, oh, I like that video. I like that song. And I'm like, oh, this is what we up against.
Yeah. The more cursing.
Yeah, these girls feel they need to act out what's in these songs. I mean, like the City Girl song during the summer. Like, really? I mean, it's gotten out of, it's really gone too far.
The more cursing,
you know,
the more nudity, the more people think it's popular. Like my 18-year-old tells me, you know, and I get in her car and she puts on something and I'm like, oh my God, my ears are bleeding. You know, like,
me too. Like at my daughter's car, I'm like,
and then she says to me, nobody listens to the words. We're just listening to the music.
Yeah, they don't realize.
And I'm like, that's not true. That's not true. Because what you think you're not listening to, really, it's playing in your background, right? And it plays in your head, and it influences your behavior and your thoughts and how you process things. Yeah. So you are listening to it. You just think you're not listening to it.
And what they don't realize is that the record companies, the more ratchet your song is, the more money they're gonna give you, because it's definitely a way of keeping our community down. Which is people
they promise you. It's more money they promise you. You don't.
But I'm telling you, I know some people some people aren't making money, but some people are. Yeah. But I'm saying they will throw that money at you to bring down more of your culture.
Yeah.
But that's what they do. The ratchet song, the worst song, they have the more. I mean, you come up with good lyrics, nice. That's what happened to the music, because these songs said something. You know what I mean? Yeah. You couldn't make that song like the Marvin Gaye song now. No one would pay to make that song. I mean, Berry Gordy didn't really want to make it back then, but it's like, oh my God. And it's like simulating in your mind and you're acting it out. It's a whole routine, you know, and nobody sees the bigger picture of it. Because it's just
so right now,
like if we got all that money, if the people doing the right thing, all those people in our community is making money. If they were doing the right thing in the community with the money, you know,
right.
It was a whole different story.
They're gonna take it out of there, and then when they do come back, they're gonna ride back in their Rolls Royce just to look at you. Right. They may not even get out the Rolls Royce. They just want to ride down the block in it, right?
They just gonna and take a look.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what Russell Simmons used to do. He said he used to peek through the curtains, but he wouldn't want anybody to see him.
Well, Omar, I want to tell you, we so much appreciate you for joining us today.
Oh, I got a call that came in. I got to figure out. There we go. Get me back on.
There you
go. There I go. Yeah, call came in. But I actually have a meeting with Jill Scott's management on Sunday. We got a song. We got a song called Brothers and Sisters that I put together that is basically calling people back to the community to do the right thing. We got to figure out a strategy to take back our communities.
Absolutely.
Brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? We need to come together, you know? And so we're going to do that. And then we have a bridge section rap. I'm trying to get Meek Mill on it, but that may be hard, you know, when they start making their money, they big time. I got to see if we can afford them and we can do some kind of, you know, interesting deal. But if he doesn't get on it, we're going to put the young boy, the tag on it, TAGG, that we working with in Philly. But yeah, that's a big time song. It's a community song, and we're going to use a Shaft sample. So we're going back to the Shaft 70s, dude, the Isaac Hayes joint. And we had that conversation. Yeah, we're going to have that conversation on Sunday. And Jasmine Sullivan, she's even harder now because everybody knows she's an Aries. In fact, Jill Scott is an Aries, and I'm an Aries. And so I'm going to use that Aries to get in with Jasmine Sullivan. Like, I know how we are, and I know we're geniuses and hard and rough. But please, man, this is a hot song because I got a song for Jasmine Sullivan that's crazy, too. So I'm going to keep pitching songs with my new people and young people, and then the older established musicians too, and keep doing hot records, and then get that capital and do films. But I'm going to do both sides, like the Quincy Jones thing, the film and the music, the film and the music. And now I kind of feel like him. He was an older dude when he got Michael Jackson and Will Smith and everybody else that, you know, Quincy Jones put on. Now he's like 86 years old and he still has management company putting people on. So I'm 52. So I want to do that same thing with a whole lot of the young talent. And then, you know, send them back to the straight and narrow and get money so they feel like I can do the right thing and be paid too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So and then I want to teach them, when you get paid like that, you got a responsibility to the people that paid you and that love you and that actually allow you to get that money. Yeah, because these people act like they made that money happen on their own. I'm a self-made millionaire. I always balked at that word. There ain't no such thing as self-made unless you printing your own money. And if you printing your own money, that's illegal. You know what I mean? So you didn't self-make nothing. I gave you my money. She gave you her money. We gave you our money. And then you didn't have to give my money. You know, like, look, dude, so we got to get them back to understanding. Thanks for your support. I know you didn't have to do this, but I thank you for doing it. And anything you need, I got you. So I'm going to teach my guys that, man. You owe the community for allowing you to celebrate your dream and be on stage, perform, and make money. You owe the community, so do what you need to do to give back to your community, man. So that's why I'm in Philly right now. I want to restart it in my hometown, you know, where I got all this love, and I want to give it back and then spread it to all the other cities. Yeah. So I'm coming to New York. New York's right up the street, so we got Newark and New Jersey and all that, and Trenton right next to us. So we're going to do all of them. Yeah, I've been in New York.
Where you resided now, Omar?
Oh, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina. For the past 21 years, and they brag about Atlanta all the time. You need to go to Atlanta. You got to go to Atlanta. And I'm like, yo, stop the Atlanta stuff. Stop it. Stop it. I'm in Charlotte. Y'all need to do Charlotte. When we in Philly, we never talk about New York. We got our own thing, man. When I'm in daggone DC, they don't talk about Baltimore and DC. Baltimore hate DC. You know, so I'm like, to have one city as Charlotte love another city, like, it's ridiculous, man. Oh, you got to go down to Atlanta. No, you need to stay in Charlotte and make Charlotte pop. So I've been in Charlotte 21 years. I got some ideas for Charlotte. So when I finish, you know, doing what I'm doing to build Philly back, I'm going to build Charlotte too. So I got some ideas for them. Yeah. But I've been in Charlotte 21 years.
I love what you're saying, because of what all that you just said it goes back to, you know, to whom much is given, much is required. And so it's important. You gotta be responsible for it. You know, stay your path and do the right thing, you know. Do unto others as you would have do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So Omar,
it comes back around. When you do that,
we really appreciate you. We have enjoyed you so much. Would love to have you back on. I want you to go ahead and tell the audience again about your upcoming events, and if you want to share how they can get in touch with you or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm on all the you know, the social media. Instagram at only one Omar Tyree, because I had Omar Tyree and I forgot my daggone password. So I couldn't get back in to my own daggone Instagram. So then I started only one, the numeral one Omar Tyree. And then on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those, I'm just Omar Tyree. Because we came in at a time where we just used our names. We didn't have these fancy pseudonyms, you know what I mean? It's just Omar Tyree. I spent a lot of years building up that brand, you know what I mean? So I'm definitely going to use that brand on all my links. But the IG is again, only one Omar Tyree. I also have a YouTube page that I have to keep pushing. That's Hot Lava Entertainment. So you see this red on my jacket. Let me see if I can show my jacket. Oh, it's too much light. It's Hot Lava on my jacket over here.
Yeah, we
if
see
you can
it.
see
we can see it.
That's my jacket. That's the red and black like the Bulls of Chicago. So that's my logo. Hot Lava is my band, just like the Bad Boy, just like the Rock Nation, just like the So Def, just like the Cash Money Millionaires, the Death Row, the Aftermath, the Shady, the Unit. You know, it's Hot Lava, you know. So you know how you got to do the brand. I got clothing lines coming with the Philly P, the Philadelphians, the Fuller. You know, I got the Hot Lava clothing. and we're going to do soul and hip hop clothing. So we got a brand for that. You go to all my websites and all my social media links, follow the web YouTube page for Hot Lava Entertainment. We got new videos up there. And so you got to keep rocking it, keep pushing it. But that's how you can find me. But it's Hot Lava all day long. Y'all going to keep hearing that. And Hot Lava has the music and the films and the events. So Hot Lava has everything. That's how you build it to become a $1 billion company. But I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking more about how many millionaires I can make who do the right thing with that money. So that's why I'm so adamant at working with young people and teaching them the 4 quarters so they understand they have a responsibility with that capital and what they say out their mouth. So the Hot Lava is coming, baby. Soul, true soul and hip hop. Omar Tyree, the Philadelphians are coming, and then I'm gonna spread it around the world. I'm meeting with a 21-year-old in Brooklyn tomorrow. See if he can be another Chris Brown, because I've been waiting to get me a Chris Brown so I can put some songs of influence on it. Because Chris Brown had a whole career, and I'm like, Dad, what songs can I remember from Chris Brown? And you know the one that jumped out at me? Look at me now, look at me now. And he had Busta Rhymes and Lil Wayne on that one. And that's the one that jumped out. I said, you mean tell me all the songs Chris Brown put out, and that's the one that keeps jumping out at me? Like, you gotta have some more meaningful songs than that. And so that's what you want to teach these kids, to do stuff that's gonna last. Because Chris Brown is surely the best singer of this generation. But when you think about songs that made an impact, you sit there and go, none of Chris songs that, and see, like to have all them songs. And Chris is what, 32 now? He been in front of us for like 20 years. And I'm like, what is his marquee song? It's ridiculous. But that's how this generation.
Excuse me, miss. Excuse me, miss. This is the one. I'm gonna ask you, Omar, why Hot Lava? Where did Hot Lava come from? Where did Hot Lava
I'm in Aries. And so the Aries is the fire sign, it's the red, it's the planet Mars, it's the war. And so I was all, and I tried to be cool and try to tone that whole Aries passion down in my 20s. I said, I'm gonna change my favorite color to blue. I'm gonna be blue. And it don't work. Like Jay-Z said, you are who you are, player.
Absolutely.
Even if you change the top player. And so I'm still an Aries, a fire sign, passionate as ever. And so I had to come back to my red and then black to tone it down and make it classic. So yeah, it's red and black, like Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls. That's what it is. So that's why it's Hot Lava. It's all about that Aries thing, heating it up. You want hot music, hot, passionate people getting the party hot and sweating. So when you leave, you're like, good, that was a great party, girl. I'm gonna sleep good tonight. That was a hell of a party. And that hot lava, we want it to ooze down and burn you up. That hot lava and stick to you like lava rolling down the mountain. So that's what it is.
Love that passion. That passion is fire. I'm telling you.
I'm here.
That passion is fire.
Yeah, the hot lava fire. That's it. Thank you.
I am clear about Hot Lava. I am clear.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely.
So, Steph, you want to tell people how they can get in touch with you and reach out to you?
The autopsyofher, of course, and mymentor.com/Stephanie Deani Green. I'm a coach, a style coach, and a divorce coach. And also Deani Designs Jewelry Collection. I own a jewelry company, and I am also a stylist.
Cool. You a stylist? You a stylist? Yeah. All right, so I got my next video. I want to style my guy to tag, and I got this little girl that he hangs out with, cutie, she's tall, so I want to put her in the video as a stylist, so you have to style both of them. You got to style her, and then you can't show us styling her, because she's the stylist, so you're going to style her, and then she styles him in the video. So she's styling him.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. I'm always thinking.
Yeah. I got my degree in fashion design. I got my degree in fashion design, so that was that's my first love. Yes. Yeah, and that's I'm a realtor also. Iris and I are both realtors. Iris and I are both coaches. Iris and I have been friends for 26 years.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's cool. And that's all Hot Lava, baby. Thank you guys for having me, man. I'm going to build this thing and bring it everywhere. Thank you. True Soul and Hip Hop. Hot Lava Entertainment, Omar Tyree, the Philadelphia.
All right. Thank you, Omar. Definitely. We so do appreciate you. And thank everybody. You guys have a wonderful weekend.
You got it, guys.
Be blessed. Thank you.
All right, now.